Hello, ladies and gentlemen at the United Nations. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Fanny Menardi, and I am newly applying to the Director of Political Affairs position at the United Nations in the Peace Operations Department. So I wanted to record this quick message as additionally to my application to explain a little bit why I'm interested in this position, even though I have not worked in the military. I have been married to a Navy chief, a US Navy chief for 10 years, so I know very well how the military operations work, but I also have developed a network online through my own art and political page, Pachamama Art, that started as an art page but became more environmental and political. Because of course, when you're talking about culture, it relates to the topic of peace, that is then involves politics, and everything is related. So along the years, I have really connected with the government, the White House, big corporations like SpaceX, the International Space Federation, the US Navy. I have been working in a partnership as well with the Naval Postgraduate School, following their curriculum, following their programs. I have applied many times to every single one of these corporations and organizations and schools while I was also a teacher. I'm a teacher, but while I was looking for a better position job, while applying for jobs, I actually learned to know what these organizations were doing. So I'm very familiar with the ranks and the staff and how it works, but mostly about what is going on all around the world, which was my unfair advantage, because when you're in the flow of working, you don't always know or have time to follow all the information. While through the social media, I know what's going on in the space engineering, how we can use space and the new technologies to negotiate peace, right, as a solution with countries like Russia that are also passionate with space engineering. That is right now impossible to negotiate with them, and all the political blackmail that is being organized right now with the election, that is unacceptable, when they're purposely trafficking weapons or purposely organizing conflicts to have arguments to talk about during the elections, and putting people at risk and even killing people just for their own power. This is unacceptable. One of my biggest advantages is that I can see through the bullshit. I'm sorry, guys. I know the vocabulary is not very diplomatic, but this is literally what is happening in front of our eyes. This comedy where there is weapon trafficking, weapon lobbies that are making billions of dollars, while American people are suffering, while people are being killed, and they keep sending weapons. So through my message, and I kept saying, stop selling them weapons, and now the French president is starting saying this. So it ripples. I know that my message online has been influential, and I always have good advices. I have been doing public information and information analysis and commenting for many years. So most of the time when I gave advice, it was the good advice. And when people didn't listen, the outcomes were not very, very good. Also, Joe Biden listened to one of my advices. We did not have a good outcome, however, but trying to help in the Middle East in a non-invasive manner, which would be protecting our troops, but they did send weapon, which was not my advice, but which ended up having weapons in the hands of terrorists. So we know that was not the solution. So now we really have to stop sending the weapons, and even if we have to send troops to help them solve the problem of terrorism, at least in Israel, and then use technology and space engineering as a negotiation asset with Russia and for Ukraine. So I am very good at seeing through the mind games and political games. This is my strength. My weakness may be the lack of experience in a military environment or working at the UN, but I've been following your work and doing a parallel work of the United Nations for so many years that it's like as if we were working together already. The only difference you see when I was working at the Alliance Française of Bahrain with the embassy and with a diplomatic badge, when I would send invite, when I would do conferences, I was taken seriously. Now, when you don't have a badge, or you're not an official, or you're a solopreneur, like they call it, nobody takes you seriously. So that is why now I want to join an organization like the United Nations, where my good advices and recommendation will be taken seriously and implemented, so we can actually connect these people together, SpaceX and the International Space Federation. Why? What does it have to do with peace? Because once everybody has free energy, once we find the formula for free energy, we can distribute it worldwide, and less electricity for everybody means more equity, means less poverty, reduced bills, so it helps. And the level of life will raise also. And the space engineering also can be a trading, for example, having new spaceships can be a great trading argument, right, with other countries that are still in the warfare mindset. So turning warfare into peace building. Turning the curriculum, one of my goals also is turning the curriculums from the naval postgraduate school from nuclear warfare or nuclear welfare to nuclear removal safety, sorry. So working with them to switch the curriculum, which will also then turn into training the personnel that is already in place, train them towards nuclear removal safety or energy transition, working with the oil company to transition towards green energies. So it would be facilitating the energy transition, the nuclear removal, which is the number one priority right now. Even the Nobel Peace Prize awarded this man from Japan who has organization to bring awareness and proofs of the damages caused by a nuclear weapon. I think it was really a call to prioritize this year. We have to remove the nuclear weapons. And I have been saying this for as long as I started my business, such as Mr. Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He is the only person with me who have been talking about that publicly, even though nobody takes it seriously. But apparently it is now, because it's recognized globally that this is an emergency. I wrote a book, the Pachamama Encyclopedia, with all my plan, right? My nuclear safety removal plan, which would be to work with embassies, worldwide embassy, and to change a little bit the structure of the government, to vote on an order of countries who would remove their nuclear weapons first, being the countries who have never been involved in a conflict or in a war, or who have been showing peaceful intentions toward other countries. This one would keep their weapons longer because they're more trusted. Then the countries who have been involved into wars and conflicts would be having to remove their nuclear weapons first. How would we do that? Would be to have a representative from every embassy or world embassies in every government of the world. Okay, so this is hiring people, so this is great for the economy, but this is also surveillance to avoid betrayal, so that would solidify the relationships, diplomatic relationships between countries, to make sure that we have an inventory of the nuclear weapons and that we're actually starting the removal plan. that would avoid that people keep some behind their backs. Like, we would have to open our files to others. So you're going to tell me for national security and stuff, but we have to be in an era where there is no longer problems of national security. The only competition we're going to have is going to be economic competition, maybe with goods and products and exchange and tradings of product, which is not the files they would have access to, but we would have access to files about weapons and nuclear equipments. Okay, so these would have to be open files, mandatory for every country in the world. If you want to be a part of the BRICS, if you want to be a part of NATO, you have to sign this agreement. Otherwise, you're alone against the world. And then leadership serves as a role model to empower others to translate vision into result. I think I'm really good at this as well, at seeing. I have this bit of fan syndrome. I'm a very big fan of excellent expertise, excellence and expertise, right? When people are really good in their fields. I've been promoting a lot of these people, even in my book. So they know me because I've been following them for years and sharing the articles for years. So I know that because I live with such integrity, I'm so honest and transparent about everything that I do or say, or even when I'm partnering or trying to work with some people, I'm openly saying the things that should be improved, that are not true, how we could collaborate and find a middle ground. So I think these elections were the perfect example of that, because both of the candidates have very good points. Like Kamala Harris is the kindest woman. She's been a prosecutor, so she lives with integrity. However, is she strong enough to stand up against the weapon lobbies and to stop this trafficking that is going on worldwide? They already stood up against the pharmaceutical industry, and now it's another war against the weapon industry. So, and on the other hand, Trump, he had good ideas. I mean, he brought up interesting topics in terms of what's going on with the abuse in immigration at the border, and also how he would stop providing weapons. I also believe that Trump is involved in the war, in supporting Putin, that there is a reason why Putin, they've been parasiting Biden's administration during the whole mandate. So I suspect that Putin has been doing these wars so Trump could come and say that he will stop the war in 24 hours. So if that is the case, that would prove that he's a criminal, because you don't stop a war that's been going on for 2 years with a simple phone call unless you're directly involved with that guy. So why don't you negotiate the peace now to show us what you can do? Or you're just simply a liar with empty promises just so people can vote for you, and then just do whatever you want as a leader. But we need to listen to both, because, for example, how to solve the problem of immigration by working directly with the countries where people are living, trying to help them develop their economy, export or successful business models from America, export it there to create employment, but also support their local businesses, their local arts and crafts and culture, so they can develop their economy at the local level, and then they don't have to come and leave their country to come to America. And also help them for national safety. This is what the Navy has been doing. For example, my ex-husband, they would deliver small boats to Peru, and he was going to train with small boat operations to help them fight against narco trafficking, for example, or the guerrillas and stuff like that. So they would deliver the boats and give them a training for 2 weeks and help them maybe identify some groups and how they could arrest them and stuff like that. So this was excellent. This was in 2010. Unfortunately, this program of the Navy has closed since then, which I believe was the best department in the whole entire Navy, because that was the most proactive to prevent conflicts and for international collaborations. So reopening programs like this, working with the Navy, and I think that because like I said, I live with such integrity, then people trust me and they want to also be better and adjust their how do you call it, their policies, right, their practices. So for example, with SpaceX right now, I was trying to, the rockets is beautiful, it's incredible advancement, historical advancement to gather data, but it pollutes a lot. And if every country in the world starts sending rockets every day, every 2 days, now it's a new source of huge pollution every single time. So we have to kind of push them. So they were complaining that the FAA was slowing them down to give them approvals and stuff like that. But this is a way from the government to slow them down a little bit until they offer a new model that works with clean energy. So you see, it's not always all black or white. You have to see the good from both sides and talk to people to explain to them why this is happening and what do they offer as a new alternative to reestablish the harmony. Right now, a lot of people are mad against the Democrats, but the Democrats, remember that they inherited a country in the middle of the pandemic crisis, a COVID crisis, a world pandemic. So everybody got divorced, everybody lost their jobs, all the businesses closed, everything turned online, everybody started to learn how to use social media platforms, and by the time we made it on social media, the world is back to life and social media is worth nothing, even though we should use it strategically to create new work collaborations. You know, social media is everything. So even though I don't have experience in the military or at the United Nations, I can say that I don't, because online is where we get the information. Online is where we develop the network. Online is the windows to everyone's organizations. So if you have developed a network online to create a culture, to create a network, it's just as valuable as a real work experience. So that's my proposition. A few ideas here in the main lines, but I hope that you will contact me soon so we can continue this conversation around an interview. Thank you very much for your time and have a great day. Bye.